Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 4 of Harlem Renaissance Literature. And this week we are learning about and celebrating one of the prominent female writers of the period, which is Zora Neale Hurston. I love her work. I love her short stories, especially. We didn't have time for her book, Their Eyes Were Watching God, but we do have time to look at some of her short stories. So for this week, you've got a lecture from me. I did talk about another story that I decided to take out, so you can skip over that part of the lecture. Don't skip the whole thing, but you can skip that part, but or you can listen to it either way. And then you've got an optional video, Meet the Past, Zora Neale Hurston. I highly recommend that you watch that also. Then to read, you've got The Gilded Sixpence, Conscience of the Court, and then you also have Criticism on Conscience of the Court. So 2 really interesting short stories that I think we're going to have some great discussion about in our discussion forum. And in your journal, you will be for this week talking about the short story Conscience of the Court and also the criticism on it. So you're going to be responding to that criticism and summarizing it and telling me what you think and if you agree or disagree with that author. So if you haven't heard about Zora Neale Hurston before, just a little taste before we dip into this unit. She's really, as I said, a key figure in the Harlem Renaissance. And she not only contributed literature, but she also did a lot of work with anthropology and cultural advocacy. So she conducted ethnographic research, she traveled to Haiti, to Jamaica, and she studied what was called the African diaspora, which is like a scattering of people, right? So she's integrating that into her storytelling, and she's also trying to look at traditional dialects and folklore as well. So this is kind of in some ways paying homage to the previous literary movement, regionalism, and also local color, where authors were trying to really depict specific pockets of the United States, especially after after the Civil War, and to show what life was like in those very specific areas. So you think about Mark Twain wrote about the Mississippi. We have an author, Bret Harte, who was writing about the gold rush and things of that nature in the West. And so she's kind of using those really interesting literary traditions in her work, and everything she writes is just infused with this anthropology, as I said, and her understanding of her people in all of these different very specific locations. So look for in her work the descriptions of place and setting, because they're really important. Her work kind of helped to preserve Black cultural heritage, and she's challenging racial stereotypes, but she's also showing the ways in which African Americans have, contributed to culture and have made these spaces that are just for them. And so I think for that reason, it's incredibly interesting to read her stories. So I hope that you enjoy them this week, and I look forward to reading your thoughts. Thanks, everyone.